Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko wrote The Millionaire Next Door. Introduction. Why should I care? Find out why your ideas about how millionaires live are wrong. Millionaires are ostentatious. They have private jets and high-end cars, and they hide away in huge mansions in the exclusive Hollywood Hills. Or is that just a dream? The truth is nothing like the glitz and glam. In America, most millionaires live what most people would call a normal life. What's more interesting is that they got to be millionaires because they lived simply. This summary will show you that if you work hard and are smart enough to plan your money well, you can follow the path to wealth that many millionaires have already taken. In this summary of a book, you'll find out why the guy in the Bentley probably makes less than you do, when you should start saving money, and why lazy kids get the most money from their millionaire parents. Lesson 1. A lot of millionaires don't live in luxury. They make smart budget decisions to keep their wealth. If you had $1 million, you'd wear Prada and drink champagne for breakfast every day, right? But despite what people think, many millionaires buy less expensive things than you do and are happy with that. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to start saving as soon as you start making more money than you need to live on. Most self-made millionaires come from humble beginnings and got rich by saving their monthly paychecks and not spending money on things they didn't need. One way to become a millionaire without ever making $1 million per year is to follow this simple rule. People become millionaires by keeping their spending in check, which is also how they stay wealthy. They are also used to thinking about the future and making plans for it. A survey of millionaires found that for every 100 millionaires who didn't have a budget or plan for their future finances, there were 120 millionaires who did. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to plan your expenses and set them up in a smart way. Set a goal for yourself, like saving a certain amount of money for retirement. Then make a plan for your investments, expenses, and living costs. Mrs. and Mr. Rule are both millionaires, and when they're ready to retire, their main goal is to be financially independent. They want to have saved $5 million by now. To do this, the couple wisely divides their time and money so that they can keep putting money into their business and also earn and save money that they can use to buy real estate or fix up their home. Lesson 2. Real millionaires think that being financially independent is more important than being well known. Many millionaires in the real world would rather be financially independent than own a fleet of Rolls-Royces. Independence from money is an important part of being happy. People who are financially independent are happier than those who aren't, even if they have the same amount of money. But what does it mean to have your own money? If you can keep living the way you do now when you retire and can handle a financial crisis in the future, then you are financially independent. People who are financially stable know what they want to accomplish in the future, which lets them set up their budgets based on their own priorities. Let's think about the Rule family once more. Mrs. Rule is happy and doesn't worry about money. Even if she gets hurt, she will never have to depend on anyone else for money. She can even put money away for her grandchildren, who she hopes will one day go to college. People often think of the big hat, no cattle type of American millionaire. This is a person who looks like a rich rancher but doesn't own any cattle. They drive expensive cars but don't make much money. Even if they make a good living, it's hard for them to save money. That is, these millionaires don't have as much money as you might think they do. To figure out how much money a person is likely to have, multiply their age by their pre-tax annual household income and divide by 10. 1 year, Mr. Friend, for example, made $221,000. Since Mr. Friend is 48 years old, we can multiply 48 by 221,000 and divide by 10 to get $1,060,800, which is what we would expect him to be worth. But because Mr. Friend wasted his money on luxury items, his real net worth is less than $260,000. He's no millionaire. In fact, he's what's called a big hat, no cattle person, or someone who doesn't save enough money. Put simply, he's not as valuable as he could be. Lesson 3. People with a lot of money know where and how to spend it. Put your money in what you know. How do people with a lot of money decide what to invest in? Smart millionaires know that the best way to spend their money is on their family's health care and on ways to make their business more profitable. Even though these millionaires tend to be cheap in other ways, they don't care about price when they buy investment services, get tax advice, or pay for medical care for themselves or their families. In the same way, they know to buy things or services that help their businesses, like more office space or computer software. Take Mr. South, who has $1 million. He says he would never buy a Rolls-Royce for himself because it would draw too much attention in his lower middle-class neighborhood. Instead, he knows that it is much smarter to use his money to pay for his grandchildren's dental care. Plan ahead if you want to spend money wisely. Millionaires spend more time planning their investments than people who don't, and they often make more money from them than people who don't plan. Also, if you want to get richer by putting money into certain businesses, you'll need to plan and learn about them. Everyone knows a lot about at least one thing, so use what you know to your advantage when you invest. For instance, Mrs. Smith is an auctioneer who focuses on selling commercial property. Where should she put her money? Of course, there is commercial real estate. On the other hand, Mr. Long knows a lot about old furniture. Should he put his money into high-tech stocks? He should probably stick to what he knows best. Lesson 4. A lot of millionaires give their money to their kids, even though it can hurt them. We have seen how millionaires live, but how do their kids live? Most of the time, millionaire parents don't give their kids much money to help them grow up. Even though many millionaires are frugal, they spend a lot on outpatient care for the poor. This means that their children get money every month, don't have to pay for medical care or school, and so on. But the less money adult children of wealthy parents save, the more money they get from their parents, and vice versa. Some millionaires make their adult children financially dependent on them by giving them money. This makes it harder for them to budget wisely. Did you know that more than 46% of wealthy Americans help their adult children and/or grandchildren by giving them gifts or cash of at least $15,000 each year? For example, now that Mary is married, her parents give her $15,000 a year. She and her husband are in their early 50s. They have expensive cars, live in a great neighborhood, belong to a country club, and are involved in a number of non-profit organizations. They look like millionaires from the outside, but they've never made more than $60,000 a year. How your kids buy things is also affected by how much money you spend and save. Every family has its own rules about what to do and what not to do when it comes to investing and buying, and these rules affect children who copy their parents' money habits. So show your kids how to spend and invest money wisely. For example, John is a person who doesn't save enough money, UAW. When he gets paid, he buys designer clothes. This is a habit he picked up from his parents, who went shopping every Saturday. They bought just to buy, and now John does the same thing. Lesson 5. The children who need the money the most get the most money from the family inheritance. Who will get your money when you pass away? A lot of millionaires say that their kids will get the same amount. In reality, though, some people are more likely to inherit than others. One such group is made up of housewives. Millionaires or parents with a lot of money know that women usually earn less than men, so they give their daughters more money. Especially housewives who may have been daddy's girls since they were young or didn't finish college. They have a much better chance of getting a large inheritance. Think about Alice. Her father always liked her the most. When she married a man who didn't make much money and quit school to stay home with her 2 kids, her father started economic outpatient care because he wouldn't let his daughter live in a home that didn't match his image of an upper middle class home. Adult children who don't work often get more cash gifts and inheritances than their working siblings. This is also true for women who stay at home. Most of the time, the children of millionaires are either unemployed or professional students who have never had a job because they have always chosen to study instead. Parents think that these kids need more money than their siblings who are more independent. Many cash gifts come from college savings accounts that have too much money in them because the child is no longer going to college. Take Paul and Peter, for example. They are brothers and the kids of a wealthy couple. Paul went into business for himself, moved far away from home, and stopped taking money from his parents. He became financially independent. Peter, on the other hand, moved back in with his parents after college because he didn't want to work full-time. So, his parents now give him money so that he can live, eat, dress, and get around. So, it's not surprising that when their parents died, Peter got the money because he was the one who needed it the most. In conclusion, the main point of this book is, the average millionaire isn't all glitz and glamour like in the movies. Many people live well below their means. They save and plan their money carefully and spend it wisely. If you always follow these simple rules, you could become a millionaire, too. We're glad you watched. If you want to buy this book, you can use the link in the description box to do so on Amazon. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends and family.